This funding has to be shared with a formula as follows. 52% of this money is given to states.
Each state to get 5 billion naira to cushion the effect of the removal of subsidy.
They would not prosecute the case, and at the end of the day, he would end up striking it out for want of diligent prosecution and lack of evidence.
Federal High Court in Lagos strikes out 2-count charge against suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele while arraignment in Abuja is stalled.
No one, no group will strike at own troops without injurious consequences.
Nigeria and forces vow to completely crush outlaws. Give information on casualties of Operation Niger State. Hello and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Jummai Yusuf. Joining me from Lagos is Hingino Join Adams. Remember, you can watch this news live on our website www.nta.ng/live and also on our social media handles displayed on your screen. The National Economic Council has come up with more resolutions to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal and address the effect of flood disaster facing the country. State House correspondent Abdulrahman Jibrila reports on these and other issues discussed at the meeting.
The National Economic Council is putting measures in place to cushion the effect of increasing costs of food and transportation, among other social needs. Part of resolutions at the meeting chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima was the approval of 5 billion naira to each state to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. Another intervention is the allocation of 5 trucks of rice to each state as palliative, including the FCT.
This funding has to be shared with a formula as follows. 52% of this money is given to states as grants, while 48% of the 5 billion naira is to be paid back on an installment basis within a period of 2 years, 20 months to the CBN by the states and the local government areas in Nigeria.
The Council commended the Nigeria Economic Summit Group on development of pragmatic roadmaps to tackle the current economic challenges. And we also ask that the roadmap be revised and aligned with the existing agenda of the current administration.
The National Economic Council has today received the preliminary assessment of impact of flood disaster of 2022 with reference to 128th session of the NEC meeting, which directs states to submit their design and template on how to address the flood disaster. 16 states have so far submitted their reports, while 15 states are yet to respond to the request, and the Council has then given additional time for submission.
The plight of the victims of the unfortunate flood disaster across affected states of the Federation could be alleviated if the much needed intervention from the federal government materialized without further delay. There is therefore the need to expedite the release of funds to affected states as recommended by the designated committee constituted by the federal government to that effect.
To address the needs of the people affected, the Council has set up a committee to visit all the affected states.
NEC Secretariat and officials of the Office of the Vice President is mandated to visit the affected states for the on-the-spot assessment of the situation on ground. The exercise will authenticate the data submitted by the states to determine their needs and possible intervention.
A committee has also been constituted under the chairmanship of the Anambra State Governor, Professor Charles Soludo, to dialogue with labor unions on the ongoing issue of fuel subsidy removal.
The NEC is calling on Nigerians and indeed labor to become law-abiding, as the President is determined to address the issues at hand.
The council also observed a minute's silence for the repose of souls of military officers that lost their lives in Niger State. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
And from the judiciary, a federal high court sitting in Lagos has struck out the 2-count charge bordering on possession of firearms and live ammunition preferred against the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, for lack of diligent prosecution. Adiola Kamiakere reports.
While delivering his final ruling on the matter concerning the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, Justice Nicholas Owebo noted that the conduct of the prosecuting counsel shows that they do not have respect for the rule of law or obey court judgments. Justice Owebo therefore concluded that it is only fair to keep the integrity of the court intact and struck out the charges as it lacks diligence and sufficient prosecution. Former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Ogun State speaks on the ruling and its implications.
To my mind, it was a good decision to make, because if he had refused to strike out the charge and followed the line of thinking of the defense to insist that certain things be done by the prosecution before the charge could be withdrawn, he rightly observed that they would not prosecute the case, and at the end of the day, he would end up striking it out for want of diligent prosecution and lack of evidence.
Meanwhile, the federal government has filed a 20-count charge against the suspended CBN governor. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the arraignment of the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory sitting in Abuja has been stopped. Emefiele, who was in court, could not, however, take his plea. Dele Atumbi of our judiciary desk tells us more.
The government of Nigeria filed a 20-count charge bordering on alleged procurement fraud against the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, and 2 others. In this criminal matter, the federal government of Nigeria is the prosecutor, while Godwin Emefiele, Saidatu Yaro, and a firm in which the second defendant has economic interest are the defendants. Godwin Emefiele, who was docked on a 20-count charge, could not take his plea due to the absence of the second defendant, Saidatu Yaro. The prosecution counsel, who is the Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation, Abubakar Muhammad, after the matter has been called, informed the court of the absence of the second defendant as a result of ill health. In the light of this, the prosecution counsel pleaded with the court for an adjournment for the prosecution to be able to produce the second defendant in court. Counsel to Emefiele as the first defendant, Akinko Tukende, SAN, did not oppose the application of the prosecution. Emefiele and 2 other defendants will be standing trial on a 20-count charge bordering on alleged procurement fraud running to 6.9 billion naira.
They wanted to arraign him today on a 20-count charge bordering on procurement.
The presiding judge, Justice Amsa Mwazu, adjourned the matter to 23rd August 2023 for proper arraignment of the 3 defendants. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Moving on, 36 armed forces personnel died in the 14th August 2023 air crash and ambush in Zungeru and Shiroro local government areas of Niger State. The Director Defense Media Operations Major General Edward Buba stated this at the Defense Headquarters Abuja to clear speculations on the recent attack and Nigerian Air Force mishap.
Troops, while conducting offensive operation, entered into an ambush. The ambush resulted in the death of 3 officers, 22 soldiers, while 7 were wounded in action. As a result of this, there was need for casualty evacuation. While that operation was on, the helicopter crashed. One thing is for sure, no group will strike at own troops without injurious consequences.
Similarly, Air Commodore Edward Gobwet enjoined citizens to see the ongoing task of securing the nation as collective responsibility rather than propagating falsehood that tend to undermine the military's effort.
What caused that aircraft to come down? And that is the reason why we continue to advise our citizens to be wary of the kind of things they keep on sending around on social media.
Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the military says it has upscaled operations to sniff out the criminals in the attack. Meanwhile, security is said to be everybody's business, which calls for effective and efficient collaborative efforts by all to guarantee safety of lives and property. This informed the present administration unwavering commitment to rallying every resources to address the security challenges bedeviling Katsina State. Suleiman Kodoji reports.
Constitutionally, government has the responsibility of providing security but cannot be achieved without effective partnership. Katsina State, like many states in the country, has gotten its share of security challenges ranging from kidnapping to banditry. This is why the administration of Governor Diko Umar, among other measures, approved the sum of 8 billion naira for the purchase of security gadgets, all geared towards ensuring security of lives and property across the state.
This money is segmented into three. The first is buying the vehicles for the operation to address the menace of banditry and other criminalities in the state.
Our problem about security of these frontline local governments, informants, majority of the villagers, very few, they are honest, they have informants. We should be emphasizing about town hall meeting where we emphasize that the government of Rada is out about this security, but the citizen of that local government should be also up and doing.
It further reviewed the determination of the Diko Umar-led administration in collaboration with security operatives and other relevant stakeholders to fight banditry and other criminalities across the state. In Katsina, Suleiman Kodogi, NTA News.
West African military chiefs met in Ghana on Thursday to coordinate a possible armed intervention to reverse a coup in Niger, as Germany called for European Union sanctions against the coup leaders. Charles Alpha reports.
Alarmed by a series of military takeovers in the region, the Economic Community of West African States agreed to activate a standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger. Troops of ECOWAS have said they are ready to participate in a standby force that could intervene in that country. In a meeting in Accra, Ghana on Thursday, the defense chiefs said they are prepared to restore civil rule in Niger. Ivory Coast, Benin, and Nigeria are expected to contribute troops, but little details has emerged over a potential Niger operation. ECOWAS is demanding Niger's coup leaders to release President Mohamed Bazoum after his July 26 ouster, warning that the bloc could send in troops as a last resort if negotiations fail. ECOWAS has already applied trade and financial sanctions, while France, Germany, and the United States have suspended aid programs. On Thursday, Germany said it wanted the EU to impose sanctions on the coup leaders. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, invites all ministers designate to the swearing-in ceremony to be presided over by His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, scheduled as follows. Date, Monday, 21st August 2023. Venue, State House Conference Center, Presidential Villa, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. Ministers designate are to please note that the documentation will take place at the conference room, General Services Office, second floor, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, 19th and Sunday, 20th August 2023. The following documents are required for documentation: curriculum vitae, birth certificate, declaration of age, 2 passport photographs. Each minister designate is to provide the names of their 3 guests during the documentation process for access to the venue. All attendees are to be seated by 9 a.m. on the date of the swearing-in. The statement is signed by Nnamdi Morris, Permanent Secretary, General Services Office, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. This is NTA Network News. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. Speaker, House of Representatives Tajudi Abbas has announced replacements for some House Committee chairmen who have been appointed as ministers by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In a statement personally signed by the Speaker, Representative Mahmudu Abdullahi is now Chairman, House Committee on Army, while Representative Pascal Abodike becomes Chairman, House Committee on Hydrological Services. Others are Representative Dennis Idahosa as Chairman, House Committee on Healthcare Services, Representative Emmanuel Nkwom Udo, Chairman, House Committee on Electronic and Digital Banking, while the House Committee on Institutional Reforms is to be chaired by Representative Bukar Talba. The appointments shall take immediate effect, while the legislative records shall be updated upon resumption of the House from recess. Now, the renewed hope health agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu intends to cover over 50 million Nigerians, especially the vulnerable. Special advisor to the President on Health, Dr. Salma Ibrahim Anas, who said this at the National Healthy Aging Summit in Abuja, noted that the President is committed to achieving this within the next 4 years. Basi Itaekwa reports.
This is a gathering of senior citizens, but as I walked into the venue, I spotted women below the age of 60, and my curiosity led me to chatting with them. Mary is a widow who is also benefiting from discussions here. The summit is aimed at charting a new course for the care of the elderly.
Healthy aging, very, very important. Right now, the elderly cannot access quality health care in Nigeria. I don't think anywhere in Nigeria that has been achieved. So we need that.
Educational opportunities, social protection, health investments, social infrastructure, physical environment, your neighborhoods and support networks determine longevity and quality of life. That's what healthy aging is about.
With the global data of 703 million persons aged 65 in 2019, the WHO country representative fears the number may double in the next 3 years.
Reiterate WHO commitment to support and actively participate in this partnership journey toward achieving the desired outcome in line with the UN resolution for the decade of healthy aging.
Special advisor to the President on Health Matters says the President is committed to meeting the universal health coverage, including good health for the elderly.
Provide a focused care and quality health care for the aged and specialized services that will meet their needs through capacity building.
The summit therefore advocates developing an international policy framework for the elderly in line with SDGs 1, 2, 3, and 5. Basi Taipang, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has charged traditional rulers to support the vaccination of children on polio and other vaccine diseases for a progressive nation. Haruna Mohammed reports that the Sultan gave the charge at the strategic meeting of traditional rulers by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency held in Kaduna.
It is a strategic meeting of traditional leaders, UNICEF, World Health Organization, and the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. On the table are modalities for vaccination and accessibility in hard-to-reach areas for an all-variant polio-free nation. Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, in his address called on traditional leaders to support and provide mitigation suggestions towards ensuring every mother and child is vaccinated.
We have just started this struggle, this long struggle of ensuring our children are immunized, are healthy, because health is wealth.
Now, once there's an area of vulnerability, all our children become vulnerable.
For the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and its developmental partners, they seek to eradicate the circulating type 2 polio virus by December 2023.
Known as the circulating variant polio virus CVPV2. We have the tools, the knowledge, the experience, and the unwavering spirit to achieve this monumental task. Your leadership can accelerate our progress.
Our Royal Father to really take opportunity and ownership of vaccination services.
I supported the states with campaign vaccines, such as the delivery of about 28 million doses of FIPV, 26 million units of 0.1 milliliter syringes, and 135 million doses of MOPV vaccines.
The meeting is targeted at adopting resolutions based on communities' suggestions and information for a vaccination-free society. In Kaduna, I am Haruna Mohammed, NTA.
Are you looking for an all-encompassing educational system with international footprint without crossing the shores of Nigeria? Well, Cosmopolitan University has formally opened its doors to the public. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports that the citadel of learning is aspiring to groom academic doyens and other leaders of thoughts.
I send somebody to London or Berlin or New York to get an international good quality experience. We want them to get this experience here.
It is the wish of many to acquire the best education, but beyond having a degree or its equivalent, its application in solving problems, considering the enormous potential of artificial intelligence, is imperative, and so Cosmopolitan University is pioneering this, looking to expand human knowledge as well as prepare graduates to make positive impact.
We're bringing in international footprint, international expertise, looking at the best in the world.
Cosmopolitan University, together with one other private university here in Abuja, as well as University of Lagos and University of Nigeria and Nsukka, with 3 or 4 universities in the UK, 2 universities in Japan, and universities in South Africa, are collaborating to look at issues around ethics in AI as it involves teaching.
Located at the heart of Abuja, the institution has 16 accredited courses in humanity and sciences with state-of-the-art facilities. It is open to welcoming some of the best brains as well as collaborations preparatory to its takeoff in September this year.
I like how here it's more of the practical aspects, and I can't wait to come. We hope to have more universities like this to help us in developing our technology.
Practical application of artificial intelligence and modern technology, to be precise.
Some of them, even from school, will have jobs waiting for them as soon as they graduate.
We hope that parents, students, and the society will leverage on this.
Cosmopolitan University is among the 36 newly licensed universities in Nigeria, dedicated to student-centered innovative learning experience with a difference. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
Service delivery can best be assessed and stimulate improvement and quality only if feedback mechanisms function credibly with those the service are being rendered to. This is what the Tertiary Education Fund, TED Fund, embraced when it held a stakeholders forum engagement on the emerging issues with its intervention institutions in the country. Abdullahi Musa Silija reports.
Education Fund, TED Fund, is reputed to be a giant federal government body making indelible footprints on campuses of Nigerian public tertiary institutions. The venture is not restricted to infrastructure, as academic works, especially researches, receive the fund's magnanimity, among others. It has gone further to convert qualitative theses of postgraduates into materials for studies in the institution's libraries. As emerging issues come up, the fund deems it fit to summon the creme de la creme of tertiary education for views and opinions, probably to be insulated from manipulation.
While it is evident that we have recorded tremendous success in the delivery of our mandate, we also face several challenges.
As a human being and as an organization, it is necessary that when you work or do some things for some time, you do a sit back and say, how far have I gone?
Our function and our duty as the oversighting committee of the House will be to ensure that there is value for money.
As NTA rolled up its camera and microphone, a technical session has taken over the space for a robust engagement to provide more blueprints expected to take Nigerian public tertiary institutions to greater heights. Abdullahi Musa Sleja, NTA News.
Talking politics, Buhari House National Secretariat of the All Progressives Congress has continued to host party members in solidarity with the new leadership of the party. National Chairman Abdullahi Umar Ganduje reaffirmed that APC under his leadership will sustain its efforts in managing national diversity. Salu Gwanara reports.
The influx of party faithful is an indication of their collective will to actively add value to the desired transformation of the party to make it a viable progressive political institution and as a front-runner of the renewed hope agenda. Niger State Governor Muhammad Bago, Forum of APC National Assembly legislators, Southwest Agenda for Asiwaju Swaga were among the latest visitors.
This is a man that we trust and we believe in the capacity to give this country a good government. We have the interest of the party at heart. So we are offering ourselves for any party assignments.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he was governor of Lagos State, he used national diversity to move Lagos forward, and he's translated that to Nigeria.
Discuss issues in the front burner, especially the issue of security and the issue of the removal of subsidy. These issues have become very tough for the people.
Similarly, the Confederation of APC support groups has commenced engagement with stakeholders to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal.
We have skills acquisition coming up, so we have started. And by the grace of God, all our campaign promises will be fulfilled.
The group appealed for calm as governments commence the implementation of palliatives in Abuja. Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Time to join Lagos for more stories making the round from that center. Hello, Hingino.
While effectively driving a paradigm shift in its anti-smuggling operations, with results reflecting in the frequent interception of goods recently, the Nigerian Customs Service is on the verge of integrating geospatial intelligence to addressing unwholesome importation. The Acting Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, stated this while showcasing about 300 cartons of codeine syrup seized along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Michael Olale reports.
While intensifying surveillance aimed at keeping smuggling activities at bay, illegal traders are still resolute in testing the strong wave of the ocean with both feet. The importation of these 299 cartons of codeine clearly explains this, and just like it will be impossible for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle, the Acting Controller General revealed that the consignment was discovered while carrying out physical examination on a DAF truck in the Ijebu-Ode junction.
The misuse and the illicit distribution of codeine-containing medications have given rise to grave security and public health concerns, contributing to a surge in addiction, adverse health effects, and societal challenges.
From Imashai in Ogun State down to Ado-Ekiti, more than 4,200 bags of foreign rice were intercepted within 2 weeks, while 5,600 liters of fuel were equally seized. The Acting Controller General of Customs explained that it is a demonstration of renewed vigor to put smugglers out of business, hoping that its partnership with border communities will further help to actualize these.
We also need to take a notch further our corporate social responsibility plan to bring those members of those communities where we operate under our fold and see what we can do to improve their lots.
Since the future is technology-driven, the Nigeria Customs Service said geospatial intelligence is being explored as a short-term alternative to its modernization projects. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
To effectively stamp out financial malpractices in banks and other financial institutions, stakeholders are re-strategizing through partnership with the aim of winning the fight against economic and financial crime. This is the thrust of a two-day training for law enforcement officers involved in the investigation and prosecution of financial crimes in the country. Adeola Komiakere reports that the workshop is organized by the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC.
Financial and cyber crimes are major bottlenecks to the growth of most economies of the world, while concerned authorities are still finding ways to address the challenges. As a regulatory body, the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, believes this trend requires robust strategies to curb such crimes.
The essence is to ensure that we sustain it and bring to book errant directors, officers, managers of these banks that led to that collapse.
This forum is to strengthen the capacity of law enforcement officers with the right information and skills to fight in emerging financial crimes within the system.
The efficacy of the digital payment architecture of the Nigerian financial system also requires deep introspection with a view to reform it.
You cannot also afford to have an innocent person, get jailed, just by dint of the fact, by reason of the fact that the investigator did not know what he had to look for, in a particular situation. So all these underscore the need for officers to be well trained.
Stakeholders agree that the advancement in information technology will not only open new possibilities in banking, but equally expose the sector to emerging threats, and this requires urgent and aggressive interventions.
We actually have adequate laws to tackle financial crimes. The area that we need to strengthen is the area of capacity building, training and retraining of our personnel to be able to see adequately ways to tackle those crimes, especially those ones that are emerging.
The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, contributes to the stability of financial system in the country through effective supervision of insured financial institutions. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. The news will be back with Jumwe in Abuja shortly.
Thanks for rejoining us. Now, in recognition of the Southern African Development Community Annual Day celebration, the group, in partnership with some group of ambassadors, took a trip to the Hope of Survival Orphanage in Gishiri, Abuja, to put smiles on their faces. To mark the day, Juliana Nicholas reports.
It is a popular saying that we rise by lifting others. And as one among the numerous reasons, the Southern African Development Community and its partners in Nigeria walking the talk as they took their token of love and kindness to the less privileged in the society. Here at the Hope of Survival Orphanage Home, Abuja, they were met with love and tranquility. Stating their objectives, the organization says it is committed to alleviating poverty in Africa before the year 2050.
Our presence in this place is for us the first step, which marks the commemoration of our SADC Day.
We as SADC group came to celebrate with the orphanage here by making official donations. This is our way of honoring both the Southern African Development Community as well as the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I'm so happy that they are celebrating with us in Hope for Survival Orphanage. Actually, I will say we are the luckiest orphanage that they have selected us to come here.
Southern African Development Community is present in more than 10 countries in Africa. This is part of activities to mark the organization's Day 2023. In Abuja, Juliana Nicholas, NTA News.
Meanwhile, advocacies from groups of persons with disabilities continue to spring up from the disability community over some of the economic policies of the federal government and the multiplier effect they have on the cost of living for persons with disabilities. Ungufan Shaji Ungwang reports.
The group is appealing to federal and state governments to consider persons with disabilities in policy formulations and the implementation of palliatives.
Persons with disabilities have been deeply affected by the increase in transportation, food items, health care, and other essential goods and services.
Persons with disabilities and civil society organizations should be made members of the Joint Federal and Labor Negotiating Committee on Fuel Subsidy Removal.
Persons with disabilities, that's OPDs, are, however, mindful that if not well implemented, these economic palliatives will not reach the people who need them the most.
Conduct awareness campaign, and we're talking about strategic communication. Awareness campaign to educate the public about the challenges faced by persons with disability, emphasizing the importance of inclusive transportation.
The group also wants the federal government to ensure the full implementation of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act and incentivize private and public sector employers to implement workforce inclusion initiatives for persons with disabilities. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
Time now to bring Benny Adams with business news. Hello, Benny.
Thank you, Jumai, and welcome to business. In view of the changing global dynamics and regional security threats, the German government has expressed interest in deepening bilateral cooperation with Nigeria towards achieving economic development goals. German Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development, Venja Skolvs, gave the indication when she led a delegation on a courtesy visit to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Budget and National Planning. Discussions during the visit centered around key areas of cooperation, including sustainable economic development, agriculture, climate, and energy, as well as peace building. Both sides acknowledged the significance of these sectors in driving sustainable development and fostering economic resilience.
The following 4 priority areas which the German government is currently supporting in Nigeria are well aligned with Nigeria's National Development Plan, NDP 2021 to 2025. These priority areas are consistent with the outcome of the negotiation and agreement signed during the visit of the then Honorable Minister of State Budget and National Planning.
We want to align our policy with that. What you are thinking, I think the Nigeria's National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 is therefore a cornerstone of our development cooperation. The overarching goal of our development cooperation with Nigeria is to increase employment, especially for young people and women, and our focus lies on promoting employment to improve the livelihoods of the population.
Stock market sees first gain this week amid recoveries in some of the week's decliners. At the end of today's trading session on the exchange, a total of 320.3 million shares in 5,176 deals, corresponding to a market value of 3.729 billion, were traded. Compared with the previous trading day, which was Wednesday, today's data shows 10% improvement in volume, 50% decline in turnover, and 17% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 35.1 trillion naira. Fidelity Bank recorded the highest volume of 80 million traded shares, followed by Transcap Nigeria 34.3 million and United Bank for Africa 24.4 million shares. Well, that is business news. Network news continues with Jumai. Jumai, it's nice doing business with you.
Benny, and still talking a bit of business, recent economic policies of government have emphasized the need for ministries, departments and agencies to imbibe prudent spending of financial resources entrusted to them for the public good. The authority of the judiciary, having also adopted the principle, is inculcating it in its finance directorate staff under the auspices of the National Judicial Institute, NGI. The capacity building workshop in Abuja is also exposing tenets of integrity and transparency in public funds management.
In view of the foregoing, you must respect all forms of corrupt practices, bearing in mind the provision of code of conduct for judicial officers.
Fresh perspectives on how to maximize the judiciary's financial resources are expected from the meeting. We'll take another break. We will be back in a bit. Just stay. Thanks for joining us. A report just reaching us says World Women 100 meters hurdles champion and record holder Toby Amasong has been cleared of charges by Athletics Integrity Unit. She is to compete at the World Athletics Championship in Budapest, Hungary, commencing this week. And the death has been announced of Pa Joseph Ozegbe of Edunu Iroa, Edo State. He was aged 96. Pa Joseph served as a pastor in several communities of the Midwest region. He also worked as a marketing officer for various private companies across the Western region. Pa Ozegbe was a devout Christian, an exemplary community leader, and a lover of humanity. He's survived by his wife, Mrs. Rosa Ozegbe, children and great-grandchildren. Final traditional rites began this evening. And that's NTA Network News for tonight. Thanks so much for your time. I am Jummai Yusuf.